I was so nervous. My hand was shaking like I've never seen it before. I had a very, very delicate piece of spun sugar, and I was really concerned that if I went to stick it in, then the whole thing would shatter.
It's slow and steady and we'll get there. Just really have to be concentrated on this one. A lot of processes, a lot of measuring, and everything has to go in just right. Just have to be careful, really careful.
Which bit of the dish are you cooking first?
I'm going to do the Marquise first.
You sound unsure. Install some confidence in me, Nigel.
No, absolutely. The Marquise first, followed by the marshmallow. There are quite a few steps in putting the Marquise together. 5 or 6 bowls of going all at once. I've got the melted chocolate, egg yolks and sugar. I've got my crushed pistachios, I've got my lemon zest, I've got my whipped cream, and all these things need to come together at just the right time. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
I've never made marshmallow before, haven't got the foggiest clue. So we start off with the syrup and the gelatin, and then get that into a bowl and just beat the hell out of it for 15 minutes.
Hard work today, I'll tell you.
And I'm whipping away, and slowly but surely it starts to turn into marshmallow, and then it gets sticky as hell. It would be a beautiful fly trap. It's turning into marshmallow. Must be doing something right.
I just wanted to do a couple more. I've got the time and I've got the marshmallow, so I thought it's probably worth doing a few. I'm really happy with my marshmallows. They appear nice and fluffy to touch. I've never done them before, so yeah, quite pleased with that.
Nigel seems pretty under control there.
Yeah, I think Nigel's he's onto his rhubarb now. He seems pretty cool and calm. Everything seems to be working okay for him.
And our big guy Steve down the back.
He's really impressing me, actually. I think out of everybody, he's working the cleanest. He's working very efficiently, and every single thing that he's doing is working.
And Kirsty, she's struggling big time at the moment. Wonder if she can pull it out of the bag to get back on track.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Unfortunately, I don't think she's worked in marshmallow enough. If you don't get enough air into it and if you don't work it well enough, it'll definitely turn to liquid with the glucose content in it. I think, to be perfectly honest, the pressure's actually getting to her. We'll see if she can recover or not.
She's pulled out some miracles in the past, so I wouldn't put it past her to get back on track, and she excels at presentation and plating. So, you know, she could bring a lot of points back to herself just in presentation.
I'm watching the time and I'm thinking, man, I've just got to make do with what I've got to get something on the plate. Ah, too bad. I was definitely aware that it hadn't caramelised and it was still just sugar spun, but I'd rather have something like that on the plate than nothing at all. Hoping it's going to work.
Last 5 minutes of any challenge are always frantic. That whole 3 hours has boiled down to these 5 minutes. And, you know, what you do here is what the judges are seeing, so it's got to be spot on.
You're always nervous when you're plating. I'm sure my hands were going like this anyway. Everything is so delicate that if you push too hard or you do something silly, you know you're going to break it. And if you break it, then you don't get a chance to replate.
I'm happy with the tuiles. They're nice and, I thought they looked beautiful. They've got exactly the same colouring that his had, just that nice brown around the edges. But then I put them on and they start wilting and I'm thinking, oh no.
I know this is the most crucial part, really, because the dish that Mathew presented just looks so spectacular. And I think the biggest part is to try and at least have that appearance, that fantastically spectacular appearance.
OK, guys, you've got less than a minute to go.
I was so nervous. My hand was shaking like I've never seen it before. I had a very, very delicate piece of spun sugar, and I was really concerned that if I went to stick it in, then the whole thing would shatter.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. Step back from your benches, please. Step back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 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 Step back.
I knew that my dish wasn't going to be the best dish of the day because I knew that I had made some mistakes. But when I tried the Marquise, I was pleased with how it tasted.
Tracy, the Moose Queen, been shown off today with a pretty smart-looking presentation there.
I'm pleased with it. I had an absolute ball making this. It was great fun.
And tell me that you've been to rhubarb school.
My rhubarb's not going to be good. I cut it too small and I have a feeling that's going to be stringy.
Matthew was pretty clear that he was after al dente texture.
Yeah.
Do you know what al dente means?
Yeah, just firm to the bite.
Just that little bit of crunch, not quite, but just.
Yeah.
Because if you cook rhubarb too much, you get left with that horrible stringiness in your mouth, which isn't pleasant.
Yeah.
So just cooking rhubarb is the trick. So, the big test, will it snap? You know, when you put the rolling pin into the oven, I thought, you know, if you did that in my kitchen, I'd be all over you and you'd be in big trouble because you don't put my rolling pin in the oven. You get it right the first time. And even by putting it back in the oven, as you can see, it's quite thick.
Yeah.
And it has not cooked all the way through, so that's let you down, despite the good presentation. Did you try the Marquise? Out of 10, what would you give it?
Probably a 9. I'm thinking he's going to say it's like 2 or 3 or something and just shoot me down in flames.
I'd give it a 9.5.
Listening to Simon, I've really got to get in and try this mousse.
I'm nervous now.
The Marquise has a really nice flavour. You've got the right ratio of nuts and orange zest in there.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thrilled with that.
I present my dish. It looks fantastic, it really does, and it's really just a matter of the finishing touches with the vanilla cream.
Nigel, you're a returner, so to speak.
Yeah, I am.
And do you think you've earned your place to come back?
I do, for sure.
Well, do you know, I think it looks lovely. It's very precise. Forgotten the sauce around the outside, which would bring it together.
I could shoot myself for forgetting to put the sauce around the base of it. I really could. There's no excuse for such a silly mistake.
The rhubarb's really undercooked and quite undigestible. I think if it had bigger pieces, it was more tender. But otherwise, I don't think it's good. I think it's great. Brilliant. Well done.
Thank you.
The Marquise is beautiful, the texture's wonderful, and we're definitely going to have to send a few of you off to rhubarb school because that is way undercooked.
Tastes as good as it looks. It's got a really nice texture. You definitely get the nuts through it and the citrus. But you should be proud of it. There's definitely a lot more positives than there are negatives in the dish. Cheers.
Steve.
Hi, Ray.
This looks fantastic.
Thank you.
This is a pressure test, right?
It is.
They say you need pressure to make diamonds. Because I think we've got a diamond of a dessert here. Chocolate Marquise, the tuiles, the rhubarb, at last the rhubarb.
At last.
The marshmallows. They're all lip-smacking good, as far as I'm concerned. I say well done.
Thank you.
That rhubarb is perfectly cooked.
Thank you.
That's a fantastic dish. I mean, looking at it, if it wasn't for the fact that we saw you plate it, I think you'd taken one of mine from out the back.
Wow. Thank you.
Steve, you're all over this challenge from start to finish. The way you worked cleanly, you worked efficiently, you were calm. Come over here, big guy. High five.
Thanks, Simon.
Absolutely nailed. Love your work. Well done.
Thank you.
Marvellous. That could go on my restaurant menu anytime if Mathew would let us have the recipe. Well done.
Thank you. I said to myself, you know, whatever the challenge is today, I've got to nail it and do the very best I can.
Good job, buddy.
And I believe I have achieved that.
Well done.